Can I rank every POV character in A Song of Ice and Fire? Absolutely. But with that being said, before I get started, this is my own list, and while you may not agree, it's okay. Not everyone can have as good a taste as I do. In the 24th spot, I have Ares Oakhart. This character in this POV does not need to exist. I don't think it's necessarily awful, but this perspective could have been from Ariane's perspective, and everything would have stayed the exact same. This is just the de facto worst POV in A Song of Ice and Fire. In the 23rd spot, I have Victarion Greyjoy. Just not the biggest fan of his character overall. I think every other Greyjoy in the series is far cooler than him, and the only actual good engagement that he gets on screen is engaging with Euron, and there are other characters that do that better. In the 22nd spot, I have Areo Hota. This guy is just a walking camera for Doran Martell, and I don't think he's a very strong character on his own, but he does watch the Dornish plot, so that gives him a few points compared to the other two. Now, I want to say, these three bottom POVs are the only ones that I take, legitimate issue with, wish were changed or cut. Everything from here on I actually really like, even the stuff at the bottom of the list. At 21, I have Quentyn Martell. The first two chapters in Quentyn's story just aren't necessary. The Windblown is my least favorite chapter in A Song of Ice and Fire, and this character would probably be in the bottom two, maybe not bottom one, if his final chapter wasn't phenomenal. That final chapter where he gets burned carries his story. At 20, I have his big sister, Ariane. I think that's how you pronounce it? Yeah, there was a huge jump in quality in my like for the characters with this spot. I really love this POV character. The Princess in the Tower is one of the better chapters in A Feast for Crows. And all in all, the only reason she isn't higher up on this list is just I think her story hasn't really been told in its entirety yet, and this is a character that I really need to see more from in the future books. 19, Asha Greyjoy. Such a phenomenal character. Really engaging, really fun chapters. I also like her dialogue, it's pretty unique, and she's just a very unique character in the Song of Ice and Fire world, and every time she pops up, specifically in A Dance with Dragons, her chapters are always really good. I love her perspective on Stannis in the camp. Just a great character overall with some great moments. 18, Barristan Selmy. Has one of the best chapters in A Dance with Dragons, and I think his first two chapters in A Dance with Dragons are really, really good, and so is his chapter in the leaked Winds of Winter chapters. The only thing holding him back is I think his third chapter, the final one in A Dance with Dragons, smack between Daenerys 10 and Jon 14, is kind of weak and threw off the pacing for me, but phenomenal character overall. At 17, I have Melisande. Yeah, I absolutely adore this POV in A Dance with Dragons. It's a top 10 chapter in the book for me, and I think her character is so unbelievably funny and so unbelievably interesting, and if we had 2 more chapters with her, this would be top 10, if I'm being honest. Love this character. 16, I have Jon Connington. Jon Connington has some of the best lines in all of A Dance with Dragons. He is very poetic, and his story is very, very interesting. The only thing holding him back for me is I just wish he had a few more chapters, or if not that, I wish his 2 chapters were a little longer, but they are incredibly dense, and I can see this character only climbing in ranking if we ever get the Winds of Winter. I think this is a character who is very much at the start of his journey, and the best chapters we have not yet to see from him, but the ones we have now are still really great overall, and his relationship with young Griff and past relationship with Rhaegar was super interesting to watch. At 15, I have Davos Seaworth, and I know the pitchforks are already out, but it's only going to get worse from here on out, by the way. I absolutely adore Davos' chapters in A Clash of Kings, and some, as in one of his chapters in A Dance with Dragons. Davos has one of the best chapters in Dance with Dragons, but I'm sorry his first 3 are just all set up for that final chapter. And while they're definitely good in terms of build-up, they just aren't as good in comparison to his other ones. And I feel he has some of the most hot and cold chapters in all of Song of Ice and Fire. I would say about half of them are amazing, and the other half are kind of okay. But his good chapters are S tier, easily. 14, Cersei Lannister. Oh my god, I know. People love Cersei, and I love Cersei too. She's a fun character. But I'm just going to be honest. Doesn't do it for me compared to everyone else. I think this is the spot in the list where everything on is just amazing, or at least really, really good. And Cersei's chapters, while fun and watching her be super evil, is really interesting. I think there's maybe a little too many of them in A Feast for Crows, if I'm being honest. But it's not that I don't like them, I just like the other ones more. At 12, I got Arya Stark. This is another character who I think will climb if we ever get the Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring, because I think the most interesting chapters from her we have yet to see. But specifically your chapters in A Storm of Swords, and the few we get in A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons are really, really good. Stuff with the Faceless Men is really engaging and really fun to read. She's just a great character overall. In 11th place, I have Sam the Slayer. This character in this POV is really frustrating for me. Because on one hand, his chapters in A Storm of Swords, straight gas. Some of the best chapters in the entire series. And if Sam was just in A Storm of Swords, this is a top 5 POV for me. But oh my god, his chapters in A Feast for Crows are not it. They are just so long, so not fun, so boring. I do not like his chapters in A Feast for Crows. I get why they're relevant, I get why they're important, but man, they are just so brutal to get through in A Feast for Crows. I feel like they bloat the book. Super sad for him to see him at 11, but it is what it is. Rounding out the top 10, I have Catelyn Stark. Literally nothing bad to say. Just a phenomenal character overall. One of the best characters in A Song of Ice and Fire, easily. Literally no negatives here. I just prefer other characters over her. At 9th place, I got Ned. Yeah, he's your main character for the first book for good reason. He has 15 chapters in A Game of Thrones. The overwhelming majority of the chapters in that book go to Ned. Watching this world sprawl out and be unraveled with the reader in Ned's head was really enjoyable. And his arc in A Game of Thrones is amazing. It's tragic, it's beautiful, it's Ned Stark. You know he's the GOAT. At 8th place, I have Tyrion Lannister. Tyrion Lannister's best chapters are really good. Some of the best chapters in the series, and just overall, some of the best character development in the series. That being said, there are way too many Tyrion chapters. I understand that this is George's favorite character to write, but you can really tell this is George's favorite character to write because he has the most chapters in the whole series by a good margin. He has the longest chapters with the most words, and when his chapters are working, they're working. George is at his best sometimes when writing Tyrion chapters, but at the same time, I think he can overdo it a lot, and you end up with a lot of chapters, and specifically A Dance with Dragons, and some in A Clash of Kings, even though it's a hot take, that I think just don't need to be there, could be cut entirely, or could be shortened, or have 2 chapters become 1. Difficult character for me to talk about, but I still love him. He's in my top 10. Sleeper pick, Aeron Greyjoy, top 7. I really wanted to put this guy in top 5 to be like, yeah, I like this character, but I just couldn't in good faith. He has 3 chapters in the main series, and they're all really good. The Kingsmoot chapter alone is enough to secure him a spot in the top 10. The Kingsmoot is a top 5 chapter in the entire book series for me. Debatably top 3, if I'm being honest. And he's the perspective, and getting his entire feelings and emotions on Euron and what he's been through in the Drowned God was super interesting. And what really soared him into this top 7, the Forsaken chapter. I counted it in this list. The Forsaken is, again, one of the best chapters in A Song of Ice and Fire. And even though we don't get many chapters with this character, what he lacks in quantity, he makes up for in quality, and his chapters are amazing. 6th place, I got Sansa Stark. Most overhated character in A Song of Ice and Fire. Genuinely some of the best characterization in the whole story. And her chapters in the Vale with Littlefinger and Robert Arryn in becoming his daughter were so good. Phenomenal character work. In the 5th place spot, I have Bran Stark. Yeah, Bran's in my top 5. If you don't like Bran chapters, I can't trust you. Bran's chapters are so unique and so different from every other chapter in the story because they're so mystical and so tied to the North. And Bran 3, A Dance with Dragons, is a top 5 chapter in A Song of Ice and Fire for me. I absolutely love it. I know a lot of people find Bran's chapters really tedious, and I'll give this to you. His 2nd chapter in A Clash of Kings is specifically very boring, but aside from that chapter, I loved every other chapter. Every chapter he's always off dreaming, or doing something mystical, or getting some sort of vision of the future, and he is just so incredibly interesting all the time. Phenomenal character. 4th place, Jaime Lannister. I don't need to explain much here. Everyone knows Jaime's a great character, one of George R.R. Martin's finest works. His chapters are amazing. He carries a Storm of Swords. Great character. 3rd place, Theon Greyjoy. I know a lot of people don't. I actually do like his arc in Clash of Kings. It is pretty tragic, even though he's a terrible guy. But aside from one other character in a different book, Theon, Reek to Theon, is the best arc in A Song of Ice and Fire as far as one book arc. I have made videos crying about how much I love this character. Top 3, no problem. 2nd place, Daenerys Targaryen. She is the face of the series for a reason. She is a phenomenal character. People who dislike Dany chapters just aren't in the story for the right reasons, my opinion. Dany 10, A Game of Thrones, is still my favorite chapter in the entire book series. Are some of her chapters a little slower than others? Definitely. She doesn't have all amazing chapters in A Dance with Dragons, but the peaks are just so unbelievably high. And there is a very good reason that George R. R. Martin has now ended 2 books with a Daenerys chapter. She's the GOAT. But number 1, you guys knew it was coming if you follow my content, it's Jon Snow. This has been my favorite Song of Ice and Fire character since book 3, debatably book 2, and his arc in A Dance with Dragons is so unbelievably tragic and beautiful, he just had to be in my number 1 spot. One of my favorite characters in all of fiction, if not my favorite. But yeah, that's my list. Let me know what you think in the comments down below and comment yours.